Hey guys, Mr. Tatum here, giving a video about the step exercise that we're working on in our Onshape tutorials. The goals for this exercise is we're going to be using the rib, shell, and draft features the most. That's the ones we just got through covering. We're going to create linear patterns to use with those, and we're also going to use the mirror feature. So just like always, we're going to create a new document, top plane, and two windows open, or two tabs open. I'm going to go over here, create new document, and this is step, and of course I'm going to put my initials at the end of it, and OK. Once that loads up, I'm going to go to my document menu, the three bars next to Onshape, go to workspace units, go to default length unit and change that inch to millimeters. Once you've changed that, you can go ahead and click the green check box, and we're now ready to start. So it says new sketch, top plane. So sketch, top plane. I'm going to select my top view, make it easier for myself, and we're ready to go to step 2. So we're going to sketch a center triangle whose center is coincident to the origin. Remember, there's two ways you can do that. We can create a sketch based on the center, on the origin, with it starting there, or we can draw it off to the side and then set a constraint and match the two the center of the rectangle and the origin, and constrain them to each other. If we start it off like I'm going to do in at the origin, then it will automatically constrain itself to there. We're going to create a construction line diagonal from the bottom left corner to the top right corner of the rectangle that we create, and then we're going to dimension it as shown. Okay. Excuse me. So I'm going to come over here, see my rectangle is a corner rectangle, so I'm going to do the drop down and select center point rectangle. Once I've done that, I'm going to come over here, move my mouse to the origin. Once it highlights, I can click and drag. There's my rectangle, and it's automatically constrained. If I move my mouse on top of it, you can see that it's coincident to the origin. Okay, I'm now going to select my construction tool and line, and I'm going to draw a line from this corner to this corner and unselect. And my next step is to dimension this 275 and 400. So I'm going to select my dimension tool. Here to here is 275. Enter. Way too big, so I'm going to zoom out so I can see that whole thing now. And I'm going to go back over here, and now I'm going to select this line and this line, and I forgot what it was. 400. 400. All right. I'm going to go ahead and uncheck that, drag this outside of here so it doesn't confuse me. Do my green check, and we're ready for step 3. Step 3 is we're going to create a solid extrude to create the new part, 40 millimeters deep with a blind end, and we're going to have a 5-degree draft where the top is slightly in. So we're going to extrude that entire sketch, blind, draft of 5, And now I'm going to look at that to make sure that it's drafted the right way. Now, I can barely see that. I don't know if you can on here. I'm going to go ahead and, like I was telling y'all before, make that a big change. And you can see that it is not the right direction. Now it is. And now I can change that back to 5. And check. Yeah, sometimes those slight drafts are harder to see. All right, so we are now ready to go to slide 4. To rename the part, we're going to right click, rename the part to step. So part 1, right click, rename, step. Slide 5. We're going to create fillets on the 4 vertical edges at a radius of 15 millimeters. So I'm going to select my fillet command, and I'm going to select entities to fillet. We're going to select each of these corners, those lines there, that one and that one. I got to rotate to see that one. Okay, and it's going to be 15. And if I rotate that, I should be able to see that. Looks correct. Check. Step 6. Now we want to make a cutout on the top face so we can create a pattern for traction on the step. So this is going to be where we're going to put our traction at. So we're going to start a new sketch using the top face of the step. So we're going to create a new sketch using the top face here of the step, face of extrude 1. Now we're going to use the offset by, what is that, 5 millimeters for this, and to create that sketch. So I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to select my offset tool here. I'm going to select this line, no, there. Now, if I move that, I can see that that is actually the wrong direction. So I'm going to click that and turn that offset to go inside instead of outside. And if I uncheck the offset, now it's already set for 5 millimeters, so I'm going to hit enter, and there we go. Check. And next slide. So now I'm going to create an extrude and remove the profile from the sketch in the last step to a depth of 5 millimeters. And I'm going to merge that into the scope so that it creates it as one part again. So we're going to go extrude and remove, and we're going to remove that insert for 5 millimeters. So I'm going to go to extrude. I'm going to go to remove. The faces to extrude is my sketch 2. It's a blind 5 millimeters. And then I'm going to merge with all or with step right now, either one. So check. And when I look at that now, I can see that little cavity that's 5 millimeters. Here in a minute, this is where we're going to put our ribs across here to make our traction for the top of the step. Next, so this step is going to be manufactured as a plastic part. So we want to make sure to hollow it out to apply a consistent wall thickness. This saves us time and materials in the manufacturing process. So we're going to apply a shell to the step with a wall thickness of 5 millimeters. So basically it's going to take that feature and hollow it out and leave a bottom in it that's all 5 millimeters thick. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to create a shell. Use my shell command. Faces to remove. I'm going to rotate this upside down is I need the bottom of this. The faces to remove is going to be this bottom face here. And we're going to set the shell thickness to 5 millimeters. And check. And so now when I rotate through there, I can see that it hollowed that out. And this should be, these walls should be 5 millimeters. And this piece here in the middle that we're going to be stepping on should be 5 millimeters. So that's it. Okay guys, so we're ready to move on to step 10 now. Step 10, we're going to create a new sketch for the ribs for the traction on top of the step. And the face is going to be the extruded face of the step here. So we're going to come over here, new sketch. We're going to select this edge here for our plane that we're going to sketch on. Step 11, we're going to sketch a line. We're going to show the main sketch and add the dimension to the sketch. Be sure it's 22 millimeters between the sketch line and the end point in the main sketch as shown below. Okay, and then the 45-degree angle from there. So we're going to do that. We're going to select our line. We're going to come across here, draw us a line in there like that. And then we're going to dimension that here from this point here to the line should be 22. Okay, now when you do this, if by chance this line crosses over, let's do this first. Let's go ahead and dimension. So I need to do another dimension here. I need to do this front line here on the main sketch. And this line should be at a 45-degree angle. 45. Now, the one thing you have to make sure of, and it says that in the notes on the instructions, this line cannot go past our features. So, uncheck that. So when you draw this line here, if by chance you drew it too big, and let's say when you finish doing it, it comes out to here, our dimensions are still the same. We just want it to be that far away from the line and at a 45-degree angle. So the length of the line is not going to interfere with our dimensions that we've created. But what we need to do is, if that line shows up, if it's too large, you're just going to grab the end of that line and bring it back inside of the feature. Okay? That's what we're looking for right there. So I'm going to click my check, and we're going to go on to step 12. We're going to create a rib feature using a thickness of 10 millimeters. We're going to extrude that out, and then we're going to extend the profiles outside and merge the ribs. And I think that's it. Sketched. Yeah. So we're going to go back over here. We're going to select our ribs. Our sketch profile is sketch 3. Our part is going to be the step. Our thickness is 10 millimeters. And that's going to be normal to sketch plane. And notice it didn't go all the way in there. We're going to extend that. There you go. Okay. Next, now we're going to duplicate this using the linear pattern feature. And we're going to duplicate it down that construction line that we created. They're going to be 20 millimeters apart. And we should need 23 of them. So let's try that. So we're going to go here. I'm going to select my linear pattern. What I'm going to pattern is a feature pattern. The feature to pattern is going to be my rib. The direction is this line here. It's going to follow this path that way. The distance is going to be 20. Now notice by doing that, it patterns this whole feature here because it tied that rib, it tied into the edge. So by patterning that feature, it's going to pattern that whole feature. We don't want that. But when I do apply per instance, it's only going to do the rib piece and not the entire feature. So if I do apply, now you can see it just did the rib piece. Now my instant count here should be 23 to go all the way across. You can see they just patterned across there. Green check. Come back over here. Should be good. Everything looks great. Next slide. Okay, so now we need to create ribs to brace the inside of the step. We're going to create a new sketch on the right plane, and we're going to sketch a line as shown at 5 millimeters from the bottom. And again, make sure that when you're finished with it, it doesn't extend out past the part. So we're going to go create a new sketch on the right plane, and I'm going to rotate this to the right side. Where's my right side? Right there. Right side. So that I can see what I'm drawing. I'm going to come here and select a line. Just draw it in there. And notice it's not horizontal. That's fine. We can fix that. Or I can take a little bit of time and actually draw it horizontal. But I'm not going to. So I could show you this feature again since we don't get to use it very often. So I'm going to select the line, use my horizontal, and it makes it horizontal for me automatically. Okay. Now I need to dimension that. Grab that line to the bottom. It said should be 5 millimeters. There we go. Check. Slide 15. Now we're going to create a rib, and we're going to have a 5 millimeter thickness to that rib, and we're going to extend it and merge it. So we're going to now take that little line and we're going to make it into a 10 millimeter, 5 millimeter thickness, 5 millimeter thick rib, and then we're going to extend it all the way across our part. So I'm going to go to rib, sketch profiles. I'm going to sketch 4 is what I'm sketching, or I could click on it. It's going to be the step that we're doing. Thickness is 5. Extend the profile, and if I turn it, I should see my rib going across there. Check that, and there, look at there. Exactly what I wanted. All right, gonna go back over here now. So now we're gonna create a draft on that rib, 5-degree draft. So we're gonna come back over here. I'm gonna go to my draft feature. My neutral plane is going to be the top of this rib. Notice I can't select it though. That's because I can't see it right now. So I'm gonna go, let's see, which ones of these do I need to turn on for that one? I need the one before the rib, so it'd be 3. So I'm going to turn that one on so it's visible. Nope, that one didn't do it. So I'm going to turn that back off and turn that one on. Nope. Well, it wouldn't let me do that a second ago. Base of sketch 1. No, it's still not letting me. Right, face of rib. Oh, it's because I still had the main sketch here. Sketch 1 was still selected as being visible, so it was selecting that sketch first. If I had to turn that one off to then I can get to there. So that's our face of the rib right there. Wait. Of rib 2, yes. Okay, just making sure. Rib 2. Entities to draft. So I'm going to draft this side and rotate that, and I'm going to draft that side. Now again, just to make sure that I'm drafting it correctly, instead of the 5-degree draft, I'm going to make it a 30-degree draft. And it is. It's going out in the right directions. I can rotate that and see the way that it's drafted. So now I'm going to put it back to 5 degrees and check. So now I've got that. Now it's a slight draft, so it's hard to tell, but it is there because I just over exaggerated it to see it. So we're ready to go on to the next. So we'll pattern the first rib to create 2 more using our linear pattern feature. We're going to be centering that so that it's going to create 1 on each side of the main one. There'll be 100 millimeters and 2 linear edge part as shown. There we go. Okay, so we're going to come in here. We're going to use our linear pattern. Linear. We're going to pattern a feature. The feature to pattern is going to be our rib and our draft. We want to pattern both of those. The direction, we're going to use any of these lines that are following this direction, the up and down in my case now. So I'm going to select this line here. That will make it follow that line. I believe that was 100. Yes. So 100 millimeters distance in between. 2 more counts, and we're going to center that. So it's going to make 1 on each side. And check. So it's done. Okay, so now we need to do the 2 ribs along the other direction. We're going to create a sketch on top of the face of the ribs again. So we're going to go create a new sketch, and we're going to select the top of the ribs like this, the face of linear pattern 2. I think this one says face of rib 2. We can go back and change that. We can delete that and go to here. But it would have been the same thing. I could have selected either of these 2 faces also. So we're ready to do next. So step 19, we're going to draw in a construction line through the origin, and then 2 normal lines that are actually going to turn into our ribs. And then we're going to dimension them 100 apart and make them symmetric. Okay, so to do that, let me rotate this way. It makes it easier for myself. There we go. Okay, so construction line first. So construction and line tool. Now to me, this is the easiest way to do this. If I move my mouse on top of the origin, now don't click it yet. If I just move that to the side, notice the little yellow dotted line that follows it, and the constraint is telling me that it is horizontal. So I'm going to come outside of here, click, and drag that back across there, and that way I know that it is a horizontal line through the center. Now I'm going to uncheck my construction line and just check my line tool. And I'm going to draw 2 more lines up here. Now I didn't make sure that they were straight or anything like that, so I need to go do that. So I'm going to go uncheck the line tool. I'm going to click on this line and the horizontal constraint, this line, horizontal constraint. That made them both horizontal if they weren't. Now I'm going to make these both symmetric, so what happens to one is going to happen to the other. That, and symmetric across this line. Okay, notice that one moved down a little bit. So now we're ready to go, except for our dimension. We need to make sure those are 100 apart. So there, dimension tool, that line, 100. Notice it moved both lines out, so both lines are 50 millimeters from that center construction line. Check. Step 20, we're going to create another rib, and we're going to make it 5 millimeters, normal to the sketch plane this time, and we're going to extend the profiles and merge them. So we're going to come over here. So we're going to create another rib. The sketch profile is going to be sketch 5. Our part is our step. Thickness is 5, right? Yes, 5. Normal to sketch plane. There you can see them. Notice they don't go all the way to the side, so we need to click the extend profiles. And now they just went all the way to the side. My green check. Rotate, and now you can see I've just created my rib pattern on the inside. Now the only thing we don't have done here, and we're going to do next, is our draft on those. Now this draft is going to be a little more involved because now that rib is segmented by the other 3 ribs, but we're going to do the same thing. We're going to make a 5-degree draft on each section. So it's just a little extra clicking to do. So I'm going to rotate this so I can see this side. So I'm going to go my draft tool. My neutral plane is going to be this top. My entities to draft. This is the little tricky part. Well, actually, go ahead and do your 5-degree draft. Actually, let me go ahead and do a 30 degrees so you can see it. So, entities to draft. I'm going to select that plane. Notice how it drafted it. That, and that. But I also have to come in here and do this plane, all of these sides. And now guess what? I need to rotate that and do the other side. And do the other side of those ribs. So that both sides are drafted. Now if I rotate that, I should be able to, yeah, so you can see all of them. I've got all of them and they're all drafting in the right direction. So I'm going to change that back to 5 degrees like it's supposed to be. And green check. And now you can see the bottom is segmented and drafted with the ribs. Okay guys, so we're on the back stretch here of finishing this step up. We are on slide 22 now. We are going to create a couple of holes in the side of the step. That's going to be for mounting the step. So we're going to start a new sketch on the face of the right extrusion there on that. So we're going to go over here, create a new sketch. And I'm going to select this face. I've already got it set to the right side. So I have the face of extrude 1 here. So now I'm going to go to slide 23. It wants me to create 3 points. The bottom point is at the midpoint of the bottom of the step, and then we're going to go up vertical 20 millimeters, and then to the left, I'm not sure how many millimeters to the left, but that left one is going to be 50 millimeters from the outside edge. So we need to make sure that those are vertical and horizontally constrained to that. So we are going to jump back over here, and we are going to go to our point right here. I'm going to select it, then I'm going to go down here to my line, and when I go to the midpoint, notice the little box pops up, so I know I'm at the midpoint. So I'm going to click a point there, and then I'm going to go straight up. Okay, it's still dotted. There, and then I'm going to go straight across while it's dotted and click there. Okay, so now just to make sure, I want to select this point, and they are vertically constrained. And this point are horizontally constrained. You can see that. Okay, so our dimensioning then is 20 millimeters up. So I'm going to go to my dimensioning tool, select that point and that point.
You have a grade?
I could do the other point as well if I wanted to, in 20 millimeters. Notice it moved that up as well because I constrained them to each other. And then this one is going to be 50 from the left side here. So I'm going to have to rotate this a little bit, and I notice I can't see that sketch, that main sketch. So I need to go back over here and turn on that main sketch, sketch 1. My dimensioning tool is still selected, so I'm going to select this point and this point and bring it down to where it's straight down, because if I do the other way, that's a diagonal. I want it here, and it's going to be 50. And that should be correct. I'm going to green check that. Now I've got my 3 points. So I'm on the slide 24. So slide 24, I'm going to create a hole from those 2 points. Set the options as shown, and then merge the scope. So it's going to be a simple hole. Blind side 11.5.
There you go.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
So here we go. We're going to go to our hole feature, and I'm going to select this point and this point. And I need to make it a simple line 11.5 and step and check. So now it should have, if I rotate this, it should have just put a hole in each of those 2 pieces right there on that face. Okay. Step 25. So we need these holes on the other side of the part as well, so we're going to use our mirroring command. And we have a plane there in the middle. That right plane is right in the middle of this part because of the way we drew it, which is always helpful when we draw it that way. So we're going to create a mirror on those 2 features. So I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to select my mirror command. What am I doing? Mirror. No. I'm doing a mirror. Okay. Yes, a mirror command. Just sorry, I was drawing a blank there for a second as to what we were actually doing. Mirror command. Here, we're going to do a feature mirror. We're going to mirror hole 1. Notice it selects both of them because they're both part of the same hole process. The plane that we're going to mirror, I can zoom out, or easy enough, I'm just going to go up here and click right plane. And if I rotate, let me zoom out. If I rotate this around, I should have holes now on the other side. That's it. green check. And next slide. So we got one more to do. So we're going to create a new sketch on the right plane. So new sketch, right plane. So we're going to sketch the shown profile with the line and the arc tools and project the bottom edge of the part with the use of the sketch tool. And we're going to add the dimensions. Okay, and to make this easier, we're going to just hide everything except our lines. So the first thing we're going to do is come over here to our navigation box. This little tool right here, if I click there, notice it says shaded. My part is now shaded. To make some of these things easier, you'll find I'm going to go down here and I just want hidden edges visible. So I want just the outline and hidden edges so I can see I can see all the hidden edges inside of it now. Okay. So back over here, line tool, I need to make my bottom edge. See, it's used the bottom edge. I need to project it. So I'm going to come over here, and here's my projection. If I select that and then I select this line, it's going to project that line onto my new sketch. I could redraw it, but I'd have to figure out what exactly it is again. And it's easier just to click on it, do that, project it onto your new sketch. So from there, I'm going to choose my line tool, and I'm going to come here, draw a line.
She also listens to 80s music and Chris Taylor.
Here, draw a line. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make these two equal. So I'm going to select this one and this one and make them equal. And I'm going to make them vertical, just in case.
He was the one appreciating her.
Okay, so now I need to select my arc tool, my 3-point arc. You can do it with the other ones too, but I like the 3-point for this feature. I'm going to click one, click the other edge, and then rotate that up. We don't care about what size it is. We'll dimension that to get that one. All right, so that part is done, and now we need to dimension it. So this is going to be 15 from the bottom. So I'm going to go here to my dimension tool, and I'm going to select this point to this point is almost 15. 15. I didn't even see it move.
Yeah, I like
this is so close. We are R12. Close to. And now we just have to move it to the left or to the right. It's going to be 50 from the edge. And luckily I can see that edge right there. So I'm going to go from here to here. I don't need the diagonal, I need that one. 50, I was close again. It's going to move it over. So there we go. So now that's my new feature that I've just drawn in there. And we're going to check that. Slide 28. So now we're going to do a removal, an extrude remove, and do it all the way through. So we're going to do a through all removal. And this is the part where the rod is going to go across there when you create this, so that the step will hinge up and down and be able to fold up and close. Okay, so we're going to come in here, we're going to do extrude. We're going to extrude sketch 7. It's going to be a removal, and we're going to do through all, and we're going to do a second position because we went one way. Because remember, we're in the middle of this thing because we're on this right plane here. Even though it looks like we're drawing here, we're removing through all. And then this one is also going to be a through all in the opposite direction. So that one should be one way, and that one should be the other way. And then we're going to merge with a step. And if I rotate this, I should see that all the way through there like I do. So I'm going to click that. And now I've just removed that feature all the way through. So let's go ahead. Okay, so we're done.
Alright guys, y'all are done.
Now we're going to add our material, nylon.
Veil.
First thing though, we're going to turn back on our shaded. So we're going to come back here to our navigation box, and I'm going to go back over here and turn this back to shaded so that I can see this again, like so. Everything looks correct now. So now I'm going to go down here to my step, right click, assign material, and I'm going to start typing in here, nylon, oops, missed it, nylon, there it is. I'm going to green check that, and then step 30, our last step, is to do our mask properties. Properties, and select our step, and notice our surface area is 418. 418 looks good to me. I think our other digits are a little bit off there for some reason, but it's just barely. This one was 418044, and this one's 418481, so it's a little bit off. You know, we've probably got a dimension off or a line angled a little bit or something, but that'll just a smidge there. So I want to move this back over here, and so that I can see most of that. There, either way. Take your screenshot so that it includes everything, including your mask properties. There, mask properties, and your name, so I can tell that it's yours, and you're done.